Three-time WWE Raw Women's Champion, two-time WWE SmackDown Women's Champion, three-time WWE Women's Tag Team Champion, one-time WWE 24/7 Champion, the 2018 Miss Money in the Bank, WWE Women's Triple Crown Champion, ranked number 2 of the top 100 female wrestlers in the PWI Women's 100 in 2018. Ladies, gentlemen, my non-binary friends, it is I, Josh Robinson, here for Love Wrestling, and today it's all about Little Miss Bliss herself, because it's the legacy of Alexa Bliss. In 2013, the world was introduced to none other than Alexa Bliss. Having no prior wrestling training, she was signed by WWE in May of 2013 and reported to WWE's developmental territory, NXT. On the July 24th episode of NXT, which of course was taped a little bit earlier, she made her first television appearance, congratulating the inaugural NXT Women's Champion, Paige. She was added to WWE.com's NXT roster page and assigned the ring name Alexa Bliss. Alexa Bliss made her in-ring WWE debut on the May 8th, 2014 episode of NXT. She had a very interesting gimmick. I think we all remember this kind of time in NXT when the NXT women's division in particular was flourishing. It was starting to make a lot of noise. We had Paige in there, we had Charlotte, we had Sasha, we had Becky, we had Emma, we had people like this that were kind of transitioning to the main roster, staying in NXT. There was a lot happening for the NXT women's division. Now, Alexa Bliss, having no prior indie experience, no prior wrestling experience before being signed by NXT, it was kind of hard for Alexa to kind of make a name for herself in the wrestling space. She did make her debut kind of having this weird glitter fairy gimmick. She was interesting. She made an in-ring debut competing in a tournament for the vacant NXT Women's Championship. She actually defeated former Divas champion Alicia Fox in the very first round, but of course lost to Charlotte in the semi-finals. She would kind of go back and forth doing some stuff and had the glitter, had all the stuff going on in NXT. She would work with the likes of Bayley, Charlotte Flair, like I mentioned before, Carmella, people like that in the latter part of 2014 and into early 2015. Alexa Bliss's time in NXT would change up a little bit in the early part of 2015 after, doing a little bit of stalling. She had a few injuries that kind of caused her to go off of TV. She would work with the likes of Sasha Banks and stuff like that. But when Bliss really became involved in NXT and when we really got to see a different side of Alexa Bliss was when she was aligned with then NXT Tag Team Champions Buddy Murphy and Wesley Blake. On the May 13th episode of 2015 episode of NXT, she landed a Sparkle Splash, defeated Carmella after Blake and Murphy distracted Carmella and allowed her to do so. She kind of helped off and got into this feud with Colin Cassidy and Enzo Amore. They would have their alliance and she would kind of become a heel for the first time in her career, and this is where Alexa shines. We know what Alexa Bliss is like in the year 2023. She's the best when she's playing a heel. She can do babyface, but we know that she's a heel, and in this part of NXT, when she was with Blake and Murphy, the Bam Factor, if you will, kind of shook up the tag team division, and again, in a time where NXT was really hot. NXT, I think a lot of people forget about NXT, the black and gold era sometimes, and they look at the NXT of now and kind of go, yeah, NXT, it's fine, it's whatever. NXT was the hottest thing in professional wrestling in 2015, in 2016, and Alexa Bliss was a part of NXT. She was a part of the tag team division, like I said, with Blake and Murphy. I think one of the biggest things that we remember about Alexa Bliss's time with Blake and Murphy in NXT was, of course, NXT TakeOver Brooklyn, the biggest at that time event for NXT's history, selling out the Barclays Center in one of the hottest crowds you will ever hear for a wrestling show. This thing was hot. They went on second that night, and of course the big tassel between Blue Pants with the Vaudevillains and of course Alexa Bliss with Blake and Murphy. They had it, they just kind of went at it, and this crowd went nuts. If you haven't seen what I'm talking about, I really suggest you go. Blue Pants' reaction and then the brawl with Alexa Bliss is one of the craziest things you'll ever see on television. It is insane. Now, of course, while managing Blake and Murphy and being a part of this kind of faction in NXT, she did eventually go on, and Bliss did eventually go on to get back into the hunt for the NXT Women's Championship. She would work with Bayley, who was the flag bearer of NXT, with Sasha, Becky, and Charlotte going on to the main roster. Bayley was there to kind of stick the fork in the ground and be like, hey, I'm going to run this division and I'm going to work with everybody here. Alexa Bliss was kind of used in this weird role in NXT. NXT used to go like 4 or 5 times a year, have their big takeover specials, but they would have that time in between where they'd have a lot of TV tapings. Alexa Bliss seemed to be the kind of the girl in between. She never really got an opportunity to work at NXT TakeOver. However, she did get a lot of NXT Women's Championships opportunities and working in feuds, like I said, with Bayley and people like that. Bliss was able to do that in NXT and kind of be the in-between person. Now, I know that some people might take that as a slight, but it's a good thing. You're given a lot of freedom in those times when there's a little bit less eyes on you and you got some time to develop. Alexa Bliss was doing just that in NXT, which was what NXT was originally designed for, developing. She was doing a lot of cool stuff with Bayley. She even worked with the likes of Asuka, as Asuka was coming into NXT, Nikki Cross, Liv Morgan, people like that. Alexa Bliss was never the NXT Women's Champion, but I think we all associate that time with NXT and Alexa Bliss being a part of it. 2016, Alexa Bliss was drafted to SmackDown as part of the 2016 WWE Draft. She would work along that kind of time in SmackDown's history. A lot of people look at the 2016 time of SmackDown, and Alexa Bliss was pretty much pushed straight to the top of the SmackDown Women's Division. She worked the program with Becky Lynch, who was the first inaugural SmackDown Women's Champion. In TLC 2016, in a tables match, Alexa Bliss was able to capture the SmackDown Women's Championship for the very first time. She would lose it to Naomi a few months later, win it back, work at the likes of WrestleMania in 2017, and that was not her first WrestleMania, I can assure you that, friends. Alexa Bliss was, while there was the likes of Charlotte and Sasha on Raw, Alexa Bliss was the heel on SmackDown in 2016 and 2017. She was doing some cool stuff. She was gaining a real lot of traction. Trust me, there was no one. I know we kind of look at Alexa Bliss's time now in WWE and she's just kind of floated into the middle a little bit. She's still a lot of fun, but she isn't what she was in 2016, 2017, 2018, and these times when she was running SmackDown and then eventually would go on to run Raw. She was the it girl. I mean, when you look at her time going from SmackDown to Raw, she would pretty much instantly win the Raw Women's Championship on Raw in 2017, working with the likes of Sasha Banks, working with the likes of Bayley, working with the likes of Nia Jax, having multiple WrestleMania matches and moments, multiple title reigns. Alexa Bliss was doing a lot of cool stuff. Alexa Bliss was having a lot of fun. She was the it girl. She was kind of the best female promo in the company at the time. Alexa Bliss was having a lot of great moments, a lot of great matches. She was even ushered in 2018 to work with Ronda Rousey in Ronda Rousey's very first championship feud. If you remember the time in 2018 when Ronda Rousey first came in, she came in with a bunch of momentum, and Alexa Bliss was the first kind of real singles program. One of her first real singles matches that Ronda Rousey had was with Alexa Bliss in 2018. Alexa Bliss was running these two shows while opposite the likes of Charlotte and Becky. She was kind of the other one. I know a lot of people, again, might take that as I'm talking her down. That's not the case at all. A lot of focus was put on the 4 horsewomen of WWE. Alexa Bliss was kind of the other girl, like, hey, I'm here, I'm doing really cool stuff. Alexa Bliss, again, was the it girl of WWE. In the latter part of 2018, Alexa Bliss would go on to be announced to work with Trish Stratus at Evolution. Now, a lot had changed in then, a lot of injuries kind of started to rack up with Alexa Bliss, and her time in the ring was kind of interrupted, I guess you could say, towards the latter part of 2018 into 2019. She went from being announced to work with Trish Stratus to being announced to work with Trish Stratus and Lita to being injured to being at Evolution but in a managerial role. She then went on to be announced as the team captain of Raw in a non-wrestling role. Things were going a little bit interesting for Alexa Bliss. I think a lot of people remember this time as like, what is really happening here? Now, Alexa Bliss would still be on television. She competed in, of course, the first Women's Royal Rumble match. She would, have interesting times in her first Women's Royal Rumble match in 2019. And then she was announced as the host of WrestleMania 35. You remember WrestleMania 35, it's the first women's WrestleMania main event in history. Alexa Bliss didn't wrestle at that show, but she was all over it, working with the likes of Hulk Hogan and many different other stars that were coming in at WrestleMania 35. But again, interesting. She would kind of come in and out of wrestling again. Again, multiple injuries were racking up. She had a lot of concussion problems in this time. It is weird with Alexa Bliss. While in 2016, 2017, and into the most part of 2018, there was not really too many women hotter than Alexa Bliss in a momentum state in WWE. She had that tangible quality that every person wanted. And coming from a non-wrestling background and not having any wrestling experience prior to WWE, it's a great feat. She had 223-day reigns as Raw Women's Champion. She was doing really, really cool stuff. And Ronda Rousey, Trish Stratus, people like this she was working with. It all kind of just went a little interesting after that. Now, of course, she would, in 2018, win the likes of Women's Money in the Banks, and into 2019 having that kind of weird year. Again, not medically cleared, and just... a really interesting time. Now, in the latter part of 2019 and into 2020, Bliss would kind of get back into the picture. We were seeing Bliss kind of pop up in SmackDown Women's Championship feuds, and then aligning herself with Nikki Cross, eventually becoming the WWE Women's Tag Team Champions, not once, but twice with Nikki Cross in 2019 and 2020. We'll go into, of course, the pandemic era of WWE, and Alexa Bliss was kind of, again, raising that flag for WWE and doing her very best to kind of keep an interesting a sense of the word during the COVID era of wrestling, and just COVID in general. We didn't really know what was going on. And then it got really interesting again for Alexa Bliss. After a couple of stale years in WWE and just kind of sparingly being off and on with injury, and then becoming Women's Tag Team Champion, losing the Women's Tag Team Championships, winning them again, losing them again, it was interesting. She wasn't in the main event picture of WWE's main female programs, but she certainly was a pillar of television. And then, of course, the alliance with The Fiend. It was an interesting time when Alexa Bliss was kind of getting attacked by Bray Wyatt, kind of getting stalked by Bray Wyatt. Alexa Bliss went into that kind of Fiend-like persona that some people love, some people hate. I'm really a big fan of this time in 2020 and 2021. It ended very weirdly. She would actually work... this is a real thing that happened in 2021. Alexa Bliss worked a match with Randy Orton. I can't really say that there's too many women in WWE other than Alexa Bliss that has worked with the likes of Randy Orton in a wrestling match. They had a match. She would actually beat Randy Orton in that match. It's a crazy time. Her alliance with The Fiend was a lot of fun. We got the introduction of Lily. We got all the cool Firefly Funhouse stuff. We got a lot of cool segments, fireballs. Again, we're in that Thunderdome era of WWE, and Alexa Bliss was able to do some really wacky stuff, and I mean that in a nice sense. I don't mean that as a slight. She got to do some really cool stuff and some really different stuff that, again, it's not for everybody in wrestling. It's that kind of supernatural, out of this world. Is this really adding anything? We don't really know. That's just the conversation that was around it. It was just very, very unique. I guess you could say it like that. Now, that kind would end when Bray Wyatt's time would come to an end in WWE, and man, oh man, did it just get weird after that with Alexa Bliss, because you didn't have The Fiend, but Alexa Bliss was still in this kind of Fiend-like world. She would compete for Raw Women's Championships. She would compete with the likes of Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler. Eva Marie would be worked into a program with Alexa Bliss in 2021. It was, very interesting, because again, she was taken off TV a lot, put back on TV a lot, taken off TV a lot. There's a lot of like stop and start momentum that was going on in a really weird time in Alexa Bliss's career, and I guess it's what you could say for a lot of this kind of time. She would get taken off of TV in 2021, return in 2021, taken off of TV again, return in 2022, taken off of TV again, to return again in 2022, become this babyface character that still had Lily, but wasn't also with... again, there was no Fiend. The Fiend kind of come back, but she was not listed with Bray Wyatt. It was a really weird time. Now, of course, in 2022, she would be worked into the top women's program in WWE, alongside Asuka, I should say, and Bianca Belair, the then Raw Women's Champion. Well, still the current Raw Women's Champion at time of recording. And they'll go into a program with Damage Control, Dakota Kai, Io Sky, and Bayley. Now, she would capture the Women's Tag Team Championships, although only for a few days, with Asuka. There was Women's War Games, where she was in the first main roster War Games at the end of last year. Again, Alexa Bliss seemed to be gaining momentum again. She would then turn kind of heel and again be aligned in some weird association with Bray Wyatt at the beginning of the year. We've seen Uncle Howdy and everything like that work a program with Bianca Belair, and then just as her momentum was kind of happening again, she got taken off of TV, and at time of recording, she has not returned to TV in 2023. Very interesting stuff for Alexa Bliss. I guess going back in retrospect, and it's kind of been a very weird, interesting stop-start, a lot of ebbs and flows times in Alexa Bliss's career. Now, while Alexa Bliss may not be everyone's cup of tea, I think Alexa Bliss still has a lot to offer in WWE and pro wrestling as a whole. Whatever that decides to be for her is up to her, but I think she's done a lot of cool stuff, and she was the face of WWE's women's division in a lot of ways for a lot of years. Now, while the kind of stop-start momentum, the taking off of TV, putting back on TV isn't ideal, I think when Alexa Bliss finds that groove again, she'll be at the very top. And I think it's going to be a lot of fun. She still has a lot to do in this industry, and she's already done a damn lot. That's going to do it for this week's episode of The Legacy of. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. Let me know what you think about Alexa Bliss and the show in the comments below. You can follow me pretty much across the board at JoshRobinson_00. You can follow Love Wrestling across the board at LoveWrestlingCA. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, all that kind of good stuff. We've got 2 more episodes left of The Legacy of before The Legacy of Season 4 comes to a screeching halt. But we've got Eve Torres next week. So if you're a fan of that Divas era, that's one you're going to want to tune into. But until then, folks, stay happy, stay healthy, stay safe, stay pretty, all that kind of good stuff. You know how I am. And until next time, I'm out of here. Peace out, everyone.